Okay. Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay in the back? Okay, I know everybody is trying to, get ready for lunch, so we'll try to make it interesting as much as possible. So my name is Irfan Khan, and I've been in the teaching business for like 20 years plus. And recently, we actually incorporated augmented reality into education. So first of all, I'd like to introduce myself, plus I would like to hear from you. What's your name? Go ahead and shout out loud. All right. So do we have any physicians in the house by any chance? Okay, perfect. So as you know, this is going to be talk about awareness of augmented reality, and all I'm going to talk about is we're just at the tip of the iceberg. All right? So what is the objective of a surgery? So this is going to be based on surgery because medicine is such a vast field. I focus more on the surgery. So as you know, as a doctor, as a physician, you know the most important element of a surgery is to have a successful outcome, right? Do you agree? Right? So when I say successful outcome, when you go for a surgery, the surgeon does not promise that's going to be positive, right? It's going to be, basically the surgeon's going to say, we'll try our best. Do you agree? Right? All right, so being that said, what do you think is the most complex surgery right now? Anybody wants to make a guess? Okay. So get ready, guys. What do you think about that? So this is actually, I found this picture online, but you can see that this is actually surgery itself, right? So I thought it would be humorous to bring this up and show you what could be a complex surgery. And I'm not sure if you have any doctors, animal doctors, but you get the point, right? So moving on. So I found out in my research that actually there's 7 surgeries that cause 80% of the deaths. How many of you know that? Anybody know? Right? I thought it was the heart surgery, right? But I was wrong. So as you can see, as a surgeon, as a medical doctor, the 7 surgeries, as you can see, could be as simple as removing the appendix of a person, right? And as you can see, all of these are important. Now, the important thing here is that the surgery is not itself dangerous, but the element of emergency, right? When the people come in, they probably have a blown-up appendix, right? So that's the nature of this. Now, once I talk about augmented reality, you can see the benefit of using something like this to basically get a good outcome from these surgeries. All right, so this is a staggering number, right? As you can see, worldwide, just surgeries enough, right? We have spent about $12 trillion. That's a big number, right? So I'm going to throw another number at you, okay? I'm going to throw a number of 5 billion. Anybody know what that is? 5 billion. Anybody wants to make a guess? Okay, we'll come back to that. So that's going to be your Q&A, right? So as you can see, it's staggering. So whatever we can do to save the cost, right, and have a positive outcome from a surgery is going to help us, right? Now, nobody can, like I said before, nobody can guarantee a positive outcome. Only thing we're trying to do is to improve the probability of a successful outcome. Do you agree? Right? So everything is based on probability. And I saw a gentleman before me. He talked about AI. So AI is going to help a lot, right? So essentially, it's all about probability, and our job is to improve the probability as much as possible. So this is basically the current situation of healthcare, as you've probably heard from other speakers, that this is where everybody's going to basically automate, interject, integrate among different things. So this is a one-stop shop for going to a doctor's office where you have a surgeon, you have a physician, you have an X-ray, right? Everything in the same place, right? So for the physicians, you're probably already doing this, right? Am I correct? I heard EHR before, right? So who's using EHR right now? Anyone? All right, perfect. So I'm familiar with Epic and Cerner. We use Cerner, and any one of those can be integrated with AI, of course, and of course with AR. We're going to talk about that in a second. All right, so this is something that you probably know or don't know, but AR is not new. right, has been developed back in 1968, right? So as you move through the timeline, we're going to step forward and come to the present time. So as you must have heard, Microsoft and Google, right, already launched their devices, right? In fact, Google glasses, you can use that for doing surgery, right? And you can collaborate with another surgeon, right? How many of you know that? Anyone? Okay, perfect. So as you can see, this is just the beginning of something huge, right? That's why I'm excited. I'm basically passionate about this subject, right? So this is basically, so what is AR, right? Augmented reality is nothing but it's going to be a projection of a 3D object, a virtual object in front of you, and be able to interact with it. So let me repeat that. Augmented reality is a technology where you actually can project a 3D object in front of you and interact with it. So the key element is interaction, right? All right, so moving forward, so this is basically, the first one is marker-based AR. The second one is called markerless-based AR, right? So you must have heard about Pokemon Go, right? This is what they used to project the image of that, character. So next one is kind of important. As you can see, this is a projection-based AR, right? So as you can see, this is actually happening right now. In fact, back in 2020, there was a surgery done at Johns Hopkins, right? It was spine surgery, and what they did was they took the patient's CT scan, X-ray, and MRI, and combined that into one element and used that to perform the surgery, right? So now you may ask the question, what is the big deal about that? Anybody wants to make a guess? What is the benefit of that, right? So the benefit is to use real-time data while you're doing the surgery, right? So there was successful surgery, and essentially that's where we come in. So I was going to do a demo initially, but we had some challenges. But I'll advise you to go on YouTube, look up some videos. So essentially what you can do with this technology, you can actually project a person anatomy and be able to look at it yourself, right? So this is a synthetic version, but what you can do is once you do the CT scan, you can convert that in an AR model and you can view it in front of you, right? So that's the benefit of this. Okay? And these are some of the companies. I'm familiar with Proximie, right? Proximie is based in England. What they're doing is they're using augmented reality for doing surgeries where a surgeon can be located anywhere in the world, and he or she will be able to collaborate with another surgeon. So you can look up online, you go to Proximie, or any of these companies, right? So the point here is that we're just as the tip of the iceberg, right? And like I showed before, the AR itself is going to be huge, is going to be commonplace, right? So that's the benefit of that. So to summarize, as you can see, there are multiple benefits, right? So what is the biggest benefit? The biggest benefit is going back to the school, right? Somebody mentioned high school, right? So we can go back as early as possible in the child's development and be able to have them look at the anatomy as much as possible. And the benefit of also is that as you go into medical school, you can perform surgeries virtually, right? So you can practice as much as you want. And as a physician, you probably know that doing a surgery on a cadaver is probably not the same because the whole body is different. So this technology will allow you to do surgeries over and over again, right? And of course, using this technology will save cost overall, saves patients' lives, right, and be beneficial to all of us. So as you can see, the takeaway here is that AR is a game changer, and it's here, right? It's not if, it's when, and as you can see, the when is here. How many people agree with that? Anyone? I know it's before lunch. Okay, there you go. Okay. All right, so let me go back to the 5 billion number. Anybody thought about what 5 billion means at this point? Any physicians? No? 5 billion. So 5 billion is an actual number, is the number of people that do not get a safe surgery in the world, right? And you can look it up, right? 5 billion people do not get a safe surgery. It's 2/3 of the world's population, right? So we have to do our job to make sure that these elements are available to us as physicians, as doctors, so that we can help not ourselves, but also humanity. Okay? So with that, that's my last slide. Any questions so far? Anybody? Yes?
You mentioned CT scan as what you've been
Yeah.
CT scans come with a lot of radiation, and how often you have to take during the CT scan?
Right. That's a good question. So the question was, how can we use CT scan over and over again, and it may cause some other issues, radiation, right? So essentially, think about this, right? A patient comes in with an appendix blown up, right? So it is possible to do a CT scan and quickly convert that to 3D model and AR model fairly quickly, right? So the answer to your question, it's not going to be for every surgery, right? You can still use the X-rays, your MRIs, but the main challenge with any surgery, as you know, is as a doctor, you cannot look away, right, from the surgery. So that's the benefit of this. So what you're seeing in front of you in real time is the person in a 3 dimension, right, virtually, but you're actually able to do the surgery in real time. Okay, good question. Anybody else have any questions? Sure. Absolutely. That's a great question. The question was, do we see any use cases in a primary physician? Absolutely. So let me give you a case, right? Let's say somebody comes in with a tumor, right, in their brain, right? So we could do a CT scan quickly and convert that into a 3D model, right, and be able to show to the actual patient, this is where the tumor is, right? So the point is, we are not there yet, because as any technology, we are at the beginning of the technology, right? So as things get more economical, right, it'll be more readily available. Yes?
Can you speak about applications outside of surgery?
Okay.
In terms of training,
Sure.
for folks who are maybe in sales or
Okay.
just medical staff?
Okay. So in medicine itself? Okay. So I mentioned about training, right? Let's say if you have a staff that comes in, and essentially they are working on a very, very critical case, right? So they have a patient coming in. So what we could do is essentially make the model, 3D model of the actual person, right? And be able to show to that staff, right? And that way they'll be able to catch on. The second point I like to make is that even in a hospital, right, when you work in a hospital, you can use this technology to have virtual models, right, of the things you want to do. Right? For example, let's say if you're working on a very complex machine in the hospital, right? What we could do is create a 3D model or virtual model of that machine and be able to run the machine virtually, right? So give you an example. Recently, AstraZeneca actually made a VR model, AR model of one of the complex machines they use for logistics, right? So literally what you can do is you can project it in front of you and be able to run it virtually. Great question. Any other questions, thoughts?
What does it run on, like Oculus?
Sure, absolutely. So that's a great point, right? So Oculus is basically VR, right? So we are not there exactly. So basically the VR have the goggles, right? What it does, it gives you the complete immersion, right, as opposed to using augmented reality, right? So the benefit of AR is that you can use any mobile device to project the image. That's the benefit, right? So I'm not sure if I had that slide here or not, but by like 2030, the world would have spent $1 trillion in augmented reality, right? So what that means is all of us have the opportunity to adapt augmented reality, and there will be shortage actually of people who will be doing this technology, right? On a side note, not only we can use for medicine, we can also use for retail, right, construction, because let's say if you're building a home, you can actually make the model of the home, be able to project it, and do a virtual walkthrough, right? So that's another application. And of course, other applications such as manufacturing, right? If you can do a safety training, that's another possibility, right? Aerospace, any of these. So basically, anywhere you need to have a safe environment, a virtual environment, you can use this technology, right? So again, this is just the beginning of the whole epic, but I really like you to think about this, all right? So I'm early, but that's fine. Any other? Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Okay, great. Great question. So the question was, once you have the CT scan, how do you convert that into a 3D model, right? Is that the question? Okay. So actually, we have a technology, we just started doing that, which is we can take a two-dimensional CT scan, and we can actually build by slicing it, right? We can, just like a 3D printer, we can actually build the 3D model just by adding layers of that, right? And once you make the 3D model, and we can convert that into like object format, from that point on, we can easily convert to an AR, okay? Right, exactly. Well, right now, I'm saying it probably takes longer, right? In the future, very soon, we'll have machines that's going to be quickly doing some work and be able to create the AR models fairly quickly. Yeah, I would say hours, yes. Yes, absolutely. Great. Any other thoughts, questions? Absolutely. So that's a great point. So my appeal to everybody is that the perfect storm is AI, AR, and ML, right? Because what you're doing is you're trying to improve the probability of a surgery or any medical diagnosis, right? So if you combine the AI portion, when the patient comes in, you can do the diagnosis based on the AI and basically take them over to doing some augmented reality, and from that point on, it is going to be improving the success. So all it comes down to is improving the probability of a surgery or diagnosis, that's all, right? Because nobody can guarantee for sure that it's going to be successful.
You can also use it to watch people do the surgery.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Tell them when they're off or after.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, absolutely. So basically, you can do practice any way you want. All right. So it looks like I'm out of time. So thank you for coming.